What's going on, everyone? Today we have a Mastermind only live stream. It's Wednesday, December 18th. It is also FOMC day, so huge day today. And prices are pulling back into very important support levels right before FOMC. So if I had to guess, I would say that it's a bear trap, but we are going to find out shortly. Anyways, let's get into this. Shout out to WBK, Ringo, Matt, as well as Watchman and Danny. We will get to all questions in just a moment. I just want to start off going over what I'd like to cover first. So at the moment, just a quick market update. Bitcoin $104,000, ETH at 3,800, and Solana is at 216. So all prices are holding higher levels of support right now. And like I posted earlier inside of the Mastermind and the Bitcoin update section, we do have a CME gap. That price is already tested, right? We can look at the CME futures chart. And essentially, when we had the weekend close on Friday for traditional finance and then the open on Monday, we get a gap, all right? And the last gap happened over the past weekend, and it's right here at $103,000. So gaps usually do get filled. There is a gap a bit lower on the chart, as you can see, but it's significantly lower, and it's all the way down at $80,000. I don't see that level getting hit in the immediate short term. All right, if anything, it would take a long time to get down, in my opinion, to 80K from where we are now. However, things can change quickly, but in the meantime, I am biased bullish. So I am expecting personally that this CME gap actually does end up holding. And again, this is the perfect bear trap. Altcoins are getting sold off really hard just before FOMC. We have Bitcoin testing the CME gap. We know as well that we have huge support at $101,000, $102,000. So yeah, I mean, perfect bear trap, right? Sweep the Monday high, come down, test CME gap right before FOMC. I wouldn't be surprised to see a rally shortly after 2 p.m. All right, and again, 2 p.m. FOMC. And we are expecting a cut here, all right? So 98.6% chance that we do actually see a 25 basis point rate cut, essentially. So I mean, not major, but the major thing is going to be the implications that are said, basically what the plan is for 2025 with rate cuts. And if Jay Powell gets up on the podium and he says they're going to continue cutting rates through 2025, I do believe the market will like that and react in a positive manner. All right, so regardless, that's going to happen in 2 hours from now. Definitely something to look forward to. And as it stands, the only active position I have right now is Baby Doge, and it's definitely a little tight. It's been very unforgiving trying to basically catch this bottom on this coin. However, we are looking in pretty decent shape right now. On the lower time frames, we do have this nice bullish divergence forming here. All right, we are above water still in terms of the stop loss. Slightly negative from entry, but there's a decent chance it does get wicked out with FOMC, but I'm going to hold and see what happens, because I do understand that I've been in this situation before and I've seen these coins rally quite hard with FOMC. So I'm going to hold this and I'll be okay if I get stopped out, but nonetheless, that's the only active position. Now, in terms of new additions, I'm sure that you have all seen the updated model portfolios and the addition of Griffin, Griff AIN. So essentially, I was very hesitant for a long time on these AI agents, and I spent a lot of time digging into them and researching and essentially building conviction in a project. And a lot of the AI agents, like I've been saying, they are the new versions of meme coins. However, at the same time, it's a major kind of breakthrough, and it's a major innovation and a major step in the right direction for AI and actually using the tech. And Griffin Long story short, the reason I have very high conviction in it and the reason I decided to make it not just an asymmetrical bet in my model portfolios, but kind of a main position is the fact that it's backed by the Solana Foundation. All right. That gives it a distinct differentiating factor between many of the other AI agents out there and AI agent platforms. Now, if Solana does end up integrating Griffin, say into their phone and a major part of their blockchain, this thing is destined for not just billions, but realistically tens of billions of dollars in market cap. And it can happen in the short term here. So that's the reason I spent a long time building my conviction on this thing. And I have decided to make it a major position. Now, when it comes to the chart for it, we'll go ahead and take a look. My internet is a bit slow today. Everything's taking longer than it should to load at the moment. And I can see that my Wi-Fi bars are not full. So I do apologize if this stream lags at all. I can see that in my studio that there is a bit of a lag according to the connection. So apologies about that, but I can't really do too much to fix it right now. But these web to load. Stream lagging, yeah, so apologies about that. There are people working on like telephone poles and wires directly outside of my house, so that might have something to do with it. Anyways, here with Griffin, so I did enter basically on this breakout and then the pullback. All right, it did make a higher high here and it's pulling back once again. So the level that I've kind of outlined here is going to be from around 24 cents to 20 cents. And just real quick, I think it's important that we really start utilizing fibs when these coins start to pump parabolically. Just a really quick example of why I say that. We're actually going to do this on Deck Screener. Okay, perfect. So reason why I say that, Fartcoin is about to hit $1 billion market cap, but I was just doing some TA, and I did notice how essentially on Fartcoin sell-off, price did come just directly down to the 61.8, the golden pocket. All right, after a major run up, sold off directly to the 61.8 and then off to the races. So if we're gonna see something like that on Griffin on the daily time frame, you can see the price did stall, did create a bit of a demand zone on its way up, and your golden pocket's gonna be at 15 cents. All right, so if you see that amazing level to load up, I have made my position, I've established it because, simply put, my conviction is high and I see it going much higher than current price. If it does come down to the golden pocket, it would be a 43% drop. That is very significant, okay? So I get a lot of questions in regards to like a coin I'll call and it increases in price after I call it. People ask me, should I buy it now? And my answer is, I think it's smart to have at least a small position to start. And then if it comes to the buy zone, that's when you can make your full position. And then they usually follow up, most people. What if it just keeps on going up? And to that, I say you should never chase after the price. Let the price come to your buy zone where you want to buy. Don't let the market dictate where you should be buying, right? Have your plan and stick to your plan, basically. So always essentially wait for buy zones to fill major positions. However, it's traditionally a good idea in a bull run to at least have a starter position in case prices continue to run and don't pull back, which does happen from time to time. It's not the normality, but that does happen. All right, so again, I mean, I get asked this question extremely frequently. What do I do if it keeps going up? You don't chase after it. You wait for it to have its pullback, and if it never does, well, so be it. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be that you get that lower fill, all right? Sometimes you're just going to miss it, and you have to be okay with missing some things. Understanding you're not going to catch every single amazing trade, but if you do catch a few of them, you'll be perfectly well off. So anyways, that's the Griffin update. And yeah, I'm sure you guys will have questions about it, so we'll see what you guys have to say about that. But again, for the most part, we're just waiting for FOMC on the day. Now, when it comes to a lot of these coins, Tau has many of the portfolio positions, all right? And they're all sitting on very important higher time frame support levels. For example, here's Tau. And when Tau is first running up in September, it did establish a strong level of support over here at $500. Tau right now is at 523. It is still above the daily 200 EMA. Key support level, 3-month range going into FOMC day. Again, the conditions right now in the charts are lining up perfectly for a bear trap. It's usually like this. It was the same thing in September. A lot of uncertainty going into FOMC, and then we rallied hard. I am leaning towards a very similar outcome. However, I'm speculating, okay, so I could very well be wrong. However, I am looking for prices to basically hold these support levels on all of these charts. Tau, for example, at 500 to the daily 200 EMA at 465. I'm looking for this area to hold, and I'm looking for a move out of it like I have drawn here on the chart. And we'll go through these. All right, Caspa, again, 13-month range, and it's basically pulling back down to a pretty key support level in the range. It's basically right on the 50%. So, again, perfect bear trap. And definitely a level over here at 13 cents inside of the range. I do have a chart of Caspa. I'm pretty sure 13 cents is marked out. It's not this particular chart. But yeah, I mean, same thing, key support level. Cubic still in its bull flag. Long consolidation after a major macro move. That's perfectly fine. All right, let that continue to build in its bull flag. Render, similar, just pulling back, coming into a pretty key support. We can see there is a pretty big horizontal level for Render around $7 to $8, and it's currently at $8.30, but this whole kind of general area, key support. Everything is pulling back, everything is red, everything looks similar. Right here's Prime coming into this demand zone that has formed on its recent rise up. SMH has been extremely brutal. The founder came out a few weeks ago and basically said he's no longer running nodes for not just SMH but any project. A lot of mixed signals, and yeah, I mean, very, very tough, brutal hold. Still hasn't made a lower low. It did make one higher high past 40 cents, but it was unable to clear 66 cents, 70 cents. So, I mean, we'll see if this bottom range does hold. Again, with where we're at in the cycle, unless a coin is a complete failure, it won't do this. All right, with where we are at in the grand scheme of the macro cycle, this is the bottom of the bear market. So there's a very good chance this does end up holding and it rallies out of it. Naka testing the daily 200. Again, all of these charts, this is bear bait. This is all bear trap. Nakamoto Games, breakout, retest the trendline breakout, retest the daily 200 EMA, going into FOMC, a few weeks of selling off, people get scared, people lose hope, and then usually we do see a nice pump out of it. I see bear traps everywhere, really. OXO coming into this demand zone that has formed on its run up. Anyone, definitely a sleeper pick. And lo and behold, same thing, bear trap. Selling off to the bottom of its range to this demand zone that has formed on the way up. Choppy price action, selling off going into FOMC. It would take a lot to see some major breakdowns and prices, dropping significantly again, right? To the quarterly open, it's a 29%, 30% drop. I mean, again, with where we are at in the grand scheme of things in the cycle, I don't see prices coming back down to bear market levels. A lot of these coins, they're above bear market levels and they're testing supports above those bear market levels. So, for the most part, everything we look at is going to be similar. Something like Tectum is still in those bear market levels, actually. This one has been a major laggard as well. A bit of a tough, brutal hold. But again, on the higher time frames, everything is looking on par. In the fact that we kind of have this major parallel upward sloping channel. And just to move to the top of the channel up here towards $80, that's a 10x. So I'm holding Tet. Conviction is unwavered. Conviction is still strong for something like Tectum. But again, regardless, we'll look at DGen as well, because DGen's selling off pretty hard, as are most base coins at the moment. Man, it's taking super long for my computer to load stuff right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, so DGen is fully retracing this major move that it had. I personally didn't expect it to continue selling off like this. I mean, we had the range low lost. We had the daily 200 EMA, lost that. And we're essentially coming back into this bull flag that had formed and led to a 100% move in a pretty short amount of time. All right, this was a perfect bull flag. So at this point in time, unless we end up just mean reverting and reclaiming this 1.2 cent level today, post FOMC, which could very well happen, I would be looking for a test of the parallel channel again, which would be below a penny. But nonetheless, again, market is primed right now for bear traps. And this sell-off does look trappy to me, so I would not be surprised whatsoever to see a quick reclaim of your daily 200 EMA and then back inside of this range above the yearly open again. All right, I think this is just largely a shakeout after an explosive move, punishing a lot of late buys, late longs. But I still think DGen is a great pick on the base network. And looking at the base watch list right now, everything is red. DGen and Well are both down around 5.6% on the day. Moonwell over here still looks very solid, and it's pulling back again into a demand zone that has formed on the recent run up. So many of these charts are just extremely similar to one another. Prices in higher time frame levels of demand, levels of support going into FOMC. I'm biased to the upside. I'm expecting a nice pump today, but we shall see what happens. Anyways, let's get into some questions, guys. Looking at the top 100 in general today, bit of a mixed bag. We'll let the content load. There we go. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. Very few green, mostly red on the day. Again, bear trap is what I'm seeing. So let's see. WBK says, what's your take on the XRP memes? My take on the XRP memes are that people are always going to gravitate towards extreme ends of speculation. And just like Solana memes, there's going to be a few that are the exception that do extremely well. For very short-term moves, there's a lot of volatility. So if you want to scalp these memes, I think that's an option if you're going to be at your computer, at your desk all day long, because you need to be, at your station doing that kind of work. But again, for the most part, a few exceptions that are huge winners. Most will not do too much, right? Here's one called Sigma on the XRP ledger, and it had a major run up from October into December, and it's kind of just been range bound since. So I think a lot of these XRP memes have similar market structure in the sense that they've all had pretty big runs and are in consolidations right now. My take on them, high risk stuff, same as Solana memes. Go in expecting to lose, knowing you only need one winner to make it worth it. But it's going to require a ton of time, energy, and focus to essentially not just hit the winner, but buy that winner with enough size where it's going to make a difference. Focus for the most part, like where you're putting your attention. If you want to go trade XRP memes, you're going to have to make it a full-time thing, in my opinion. But it's similar stuff to Solana meme coins. It's just super high-risk stuff. Let's see. Ringo says, Crash is starting to shill render. Connor, can you explain the reason you prefer Tau over render, please? I've said it many times. I think both are going to do exceptionally well. Both have performed pretty much one-to-one to each other so far this cycle. So I don't think you're going to be worse off holding either of them. But the reason I've decided to go heavier into Tau essentially is because conviction. I mean, just digging into it, the more I learn, the more bullish I get, as well as dynamic Tau being introduced soon. And they're fixing a lot of the issues such as weight copying issues with the subnets. So, I mean, it is an early stage startup project, Tau, with a lot of growing pains, but they're being actively addressed. And with the addition of dynamic Tau, I think it's going to add a huge boost to the network, and a lot of demand is going to happen for Tau. But they're neck and neck with each other in terms of AI coins, and I think you'll be fine holding either, right? Render was a significant position of mine for a long time, and they, again, are very similar in market cap. They perform very similar so far this cycle. I think you'll be fine holding either or. Shout out to Watchman. Let's see what Danny says. Hello, Captain Connor. Hoping for a deep dive into the charts of top portfolio coins. You didn't have time in the last stream. What levels are we looking at? We went over a few, but if you want me to go over anything in specific, please, you can. That's why we have the chat box function. So please feel free to ask. Shout out to Man with the Plan. Happy holidays, fam. So many wins ahead. Indeed. Happy holidays. Hopefully it's not lagging anymore. It should be better now. Okay, so we went over many of those. We didn't look at OORT, Danny, but we looked at all the other ones. But same thing. So here we have OORT, significant pump off at the bottom, 200% move, very nice. 259% from the exact bottom on November 21st. But nonetheless, price is pulling back significantly. And where's it pulling back to? Right into demand that formed on the way up. Coming close to the golden pocket, which coincidentally enough is right on the daily 200 EMA. So all of these coins, again, very similar situations. They've all moved significantly out of the bottom, over a 100% move. They're all pulling back into major areas of support, demand zones on the chart, your daily 200 EMA. It has bear trap written all over it. All right, this sell-off has bear trap written all over it. So I'm interested to see if I'm going to be right here. But I would be looking for OORT to hold this level at 16 cents and likely reverse and put it in its next leg higher out of there. Shout out to Rainer. What's going on? Shout out to Johnny G. Now, I think data on the phone would be even slower, actually, but I think the streaming issues are resolved at the moment. Actually, maybe not. I literally just got a pop-up on my YouTube right now that the bit rate is lower than recommended. Again, they are working on poles outside of my house, and I think that has something to do with it right now, but hopefully it's not too bad. Let's see. Man with a Plan says, seems more and more like another 4-year cycle than whole 2025 ahead. Very good point there, Man with a Plan. Yes, it does appear we are getting the traditional 4-year cycle. And with that, Trump will be inaugurated in January, and it's very likely there is a lot of excitement around the time of inauguration. And then seasonality likely will kick in heading into the spring and summer. It usually does. So what my forecast is right now for 2025, I kind of went over it in yesterday's stream in regards to, Trump getting inaugurated and the likes, but I'm looking for a push in Q1. And if we do get a similar explosive rally like what we saw in altcoins in February to March last year, I will be looking to book significant profit, because I do believe the excitement around Trump getting inaugurated will slow down significantly over the summer. However, he's still going to be talking about crypto. Trump is the most, pro-crypto president ever. Through his company, World Liberty Financial, they just made a partnership with ENA. They're buying up DeFi coins. They're buying up meme coins. So it's going to get very wild. And again, BlackRock and the likes, they own the industry now. So understand, it all is manufactured. It all is for sure manipulated. But I'm leaning towards the bullish Q1, slow down, and then for your traditional cycle. And the last time Trump was in office, 2017, was the biggest bull market to be the same at the moment. Differator says, hey Connor, how do you think about cutting positions that are underperforming? Hard to tell the difference between underperforming versus waiting for its turn to pump. So I think the main thing comes down to conviction and the reason you bought the coin in the first place. As I've been saying, we have not had a full market-wide altcoin season. It's largely been narrative trades, narrative pumps, kind of like echo chambers, echo bubbles, while Bitcoin dominance has essentially been going up for over 2 years straight now. All right. When we do see the true real altcoin season, that only happens once every 4 years, there's a good chance a lot of the underperforming bags will start to see their light and have their day in the sun. So it definitely is important to keep up to date with that particular project. If there are red flags and the chart turns sour, or the team goes a different way from what you originally had conviction in, then yeah, I'd say to cut it. But if everything is fine on the fundamentals and the chart is just simply building, lagging in a long consolidation zone, I wouldn't be too fast to cut, because I do believe many charts, many altcoins will see their significant gains during the Bitcoin dominance drop. And again, with crypto, as most things in life, the 80% of the results happen in the short 20% of time. Okay, using that 80-20 principle. And that 20% of the time that gives 80% of the results is coming soon. So it's a case-by-case basis with cutting underperformers. And, you have to dive into each case individually. That's how I would go ahead and answer that question. Shout out to Crypto Tierra. How are you doing today? Danny says, with dry powder and one coin pick in this bear trap, which would your top be? One coin. It's an interesting question. I would say that again, I think it's smart to have at least a starter position for now in something like Griffin. Cubic looks great. Bull flag looks, I have very high conviction in this project for a reason. So, I'm not going to give you an answer of some random coin that we've never heard of before. There's many coins that look good. I would say to examine your own portfolio. Look at what you're lacking. Are you lacking in AI coins? Are you lacking in real world asset coins? Do you want exposure to to DeFi because Trump's buying for whatever reason, right? That's an individual question. If I can only buy one coin right now, it would likely just be more of something I already extremely high conviction in. Crypto Tierra says, I did exactly that. Started my position at 28.3 cents and now waiting for a dip to increase it. Very good. I think patience will be rewarded there. Let's see, Danny. Based on the original ebook and portfolio exit was planned for either 10, 20, or 100x from entry. Do you still stick to these figures or change your targets? From current prices, that's a 5x for Tau. Let me read that again. Based on the original ebook and portfolio, it's either planned for 20 or 50x exits. So yes, Tau is already up 10x, essentially, or 9x from $60. So a 5x from current price would be 45x from those levels. Yeah, I think it's a smart idea to realize significant profits. If we do see a 5x on Tau, that would be $2,500. After buying it at $60 a year ago, $200 or so over the summer, $2,500 is a significant gain, and 100% I will be sticking to the profit taking strategy and realizing profits at those levels. It doesn't mean sell everything, but taking significant profits out of the market and moving it into a place where I won't put it back in the market, 100% I'll be doing that. Let's see, Crypto Tierra. Interesting to see your view on what's happening on these coins as bear traps / shakeouts. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, no doubt. It is always like this before FOMC. It's always the same. A lot of hesitancy, a lot of uncertainty. Coins red, selling off. Let's just go look at the 17th of September together very quickly. I believe the last FOMC was right here. So price had rallied into the FOMC week, essentially pulled back over the weekend, sold off into FOMC, right down to this key support level. At the time, this was at 57,000, this green box, and then really large rally out of it. But very similar, right? Price just selling off into a key level, into FOMC, leading to the next rally. It's eerily similar to what the chart looks like right now. And again, price is basically in a CME gap at 103K, or it has tested it on these low wicks, which is also sweeping Monday's low. All right, so very similar price action at a very similar time with FOMC. I am expecting the bear trap to play out and some rallies today, but we're going to find out shortly in an hour and a half. And let's see, Johnny G says, Megal's chart looking strong compared to other base memes. Yeah, most base memes are not having a great day, along with many coins in the market right now. Megal is sitting at 102 million market cap. Okay, there we go. Taking a little while to load today. Wow, I'm not sure what the big issue is here, but anyways. So yeah, Miggles is looking decent. Nice rounded bottom. And, largely an accumulation lake with a pretty clear horizontal level being used as resistance over here at basically 11 cents. So I would be looking for Miggles to reclaim 11 and have another run at the highs. Now, if it does want to sell off, I would be utilizing this trend line that it's used many times. But yeah, Miggles is looking good. Nice rounded bottom has formed. Nice consolidation after its initial run up. And out of curiosity, it likely did go directly to the golden pocket, and it did. Okay, so another one where on the higher time frames after a major pump, it did retrace directly into the golden pocket. Same thing as Fartcoin. So if this fractal is going to play out in a similar manner, then this is going to go on to make new all-time highs from here. Johnny, if you were wondering my analysis on it. Let's see. We got Abdurhan says, cheers, Emperor. Your targets on SBR and SMH. Well, thank you for your support. Now, something like SPR, Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, again, meme coin with a very bullish narrative, being that Trump is more likely than not going to make a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So that's absolutely major. And, that's kind of why I've decided to go into this meme coin. Also, the fact that looking at the chart, it already had its major decline after its initial run up. All right, the entry was given at a 20 mil market cap, which is essentially right at current price at $1. Now, it did drop to 10 mil. It pumped up to 30. It's just in a range after kind of finding a base over here. So target for something like SBR. I know that other coins that have had a similar chart like this, where they run up and they pull back to around the 20 mil market cap level, I've seen them run when they break out of this to 200 to 300 million market cap. All right. So ideally, my target for SBR initially is going to be around 200 to 300 million dollar market cap. Now, at that point in time, I will book significant profits and I will continue to hold a moon bag for higher. All right, but I'm not going to hold everything for a 100x. I don't think that's smart whatsoever. If, for example, let's say you put 1 ETH into SBR and it goes up by 10x, you turn 1 ETH into 10 ETH. I think it's wise at that point to minimum sell half of the position. I would consider selling more than half of the position, right, over 5 ETH. And then you leave some house money in the coin as a moon bag in case it does continue to increase. But yeah, SBR, that's what I would be looking for. And now something like SMH, not a meme. But with a very low market cap. Just wanted to see what the current market cap is. Yeah, 25 million. So again, something like this with very good fundamentals and very, very strong potential. It is still largely a new experiment right now, right? It's like an early stage tech startup essentially that's gone through many struggles basically. Now, the main guy behind SMH is an OG core Ethereum developer. And we have seen other coins created by these OG Ethereum developers, Gavin Wood, Charles Hoskinson, Cardano Polkadot, head to billions in market cap. So a 2.5 billion market cap for Space Mess SMH would be a 100x from the current valuation. I think there's a probability that can happen this cycle. But again, I wouldn't try and moon bag and hold on 100% of the coin to that valuation. Something like a 250 mil market cap is a 10x. I think that's very largely achievable. And that would be the first levels, where you can essentially follow the strategy. And at that point, I would consider selling something like this as a fundamental bag, minimum 10% after a 10x. But that would be around a 75% gain from $2, which was when I originally called this project and put in my first personal buy. So price prediction, hundreds of millions with billions, 2 billion potential, 2.5. Early stage startup with a lot of growing pains. It's been a very rough hold. There's no doubt about that. But we'll see if things can turn around and the speculation does return to a coin like SMH, which put in a very good performance at the start of 2024. basically going from current prices to like $6.50. But got sold off big time, so been a very, very brutal hold. Let's see. Matt says, can you check AKT? Good time to buy more. It looks like a good time to me. It is right at my outlined. It did bounce a bit off of $3.40, $3.39, which is the start of the demand zone that I've drawn. But some people will draw it wick to wick, so up to like 350. But yes, this is in a higher time frame, daily time frame demand zone, pretty close to the daily 200 EMA. So is it a good time to buy? I think it's a pretty good time, right? You're not buying the top at 5. You're buying currently 31% lower. So good discount there, in demand. It's definitely not the worst place to buy something like AKT right now. Going back to what I was saying earlier, all coins are in very similar positions right now, where they have sold off basically to key levels of support. Tau and AKT they don't look the same, but what's happening locally is very, very similar. Same thing with Render, same thing with all the major AI coins. Very, very similar price action playing out right in front of our eyes right now. So, yeah, I think it's a good time to buy AKT. Let's see, Resonate. Are all of your profit-taking targets set off of entry price and 5x, 10x, 20x multiples? So these are really, it's not a rigid process. It's a fluid process taking profit, which is why I say have a healthy profit-taking schedule and also kind of create your own. I don't think it's smart to be stuck on an exact number, because what if the price comes short of that number and you never end up taking profit? All right, I think it's smart to be able to look at things in real time. Which is why it's very important to have pattern recognition and, being able to analyze the chart and determine whether or not it's overbought, oversold, where it is in its stage of its current personal cycle in its individual chart. All right, so it is a fluid process. It's not black and white. So you say, are all of your profit-taking targets set off of entry price? Again, it's a tough question to answer. I mean, for the most part, I'd say yes, but at the same time, I'm not bound to those exact price levels. All right, nothing is set in concrete. Nothing is set in stone when it comes to the financial markets, because anything can happen at any moment in time. All right, so if I decide that things look too overheated and I'm in significant profits, but it didn't hit my 20x target, I'm not going to be a stubborn donkey and say, no, I'm going to not sell anything and wait, right? If I think it's time to exit, I can exit, and that can happen on a whim. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I have forecasts of profit levels that I do plan to stick to, but at the same time, it is not black and white. It is not set in stone. And sometimes trading in the market, investing in the market requires making real-time decisions. So it's not set in stone. And let's see, the next question says, are you going to adjust these as alt season unfolds? And can you share some ways to identify these with later entries? So the main thing is the general kind of cycle, right? Each individual coin, they're all going to run at their own different times. Now, the question, are you going to adjust these as alt season unfolds? Are you in regards to the targets? Not necessarily, no. Let's go ahead and pull this up. The main thing is going to essentially be the major indexes of the market. right? Bitcoin dominance, stablecoin dominance, and being able to look at it, an individual coin, and see its performance, and essentially from there determine if it looks cooked or not and done for the cycle. Now, most things move at the same time when they start to move, right? So when dominance does start to drop sub 50% to this 44% level, and let's say one coin goes up 100x and another coin only goes up 3x. At that point, I would determine, okay, it's time to get the heck out of the coin that went up 100x. And I'll look at the coin that only went up 3x and I'll say, okay, this doesn't look like it's topped out. It didn't go on a parabolic rally similar to other coins. It's lower in market cap, so maybe it's just a laggard that will see its time. It's a case-by-case basis, essentially. And again, nothing is set in stone. It is not a rigid, strict process where it's molded in concrete. And when you say, can you share some ways to identify these with later entries? I would need an example, because I'm not even really sure what you're asking, to be honest with you, Resonate. I would need an example of I need a more detailed question, because it's very vague. Do you already have sell orders, trailing stops active, or will you set these up as the season unfolds? For spot positions, no, because I don't keep those on exchanges. But, active trades, I do use stop losses. Sometimes they are manual stop losses. But for active portfolio positions, I don't keep those in centralized exchanges, and I don't recommend you do either. So no, I don't use trailing stop loss orders on something like Tau, for example, right? That's all sitting in a wallet, not on an exchange. So no, I do not use trailing stop losses for major positions. I keep them in spot in a safe place, and when it's ready to sell, I will send them into the exchange to go ahead and sell them. Now, if we're looking here at stablecoin dominance on the daily time frame, it has spent 3 weeks now at this 5% level. So on this little bounce, that's when we saw the crazy leverage flush out on Monday, December 9th, and it's essentially come back down to the lows. So understand, when this does break, it's going to cause a surge in altcoin prices. All right, this is at a major support resistance flip. We're looking for that move down. Bitcoin dominance, like I said, is coming back up to back test. Right, we had this trend line, we broke down through it, we're coming back into back test. If we do reject off of this, I would say it's likely top for the cycle, and it's not going to come and hit this 63%. There is this scenario that does exist, that it does this and then drops, and that would just kind of extend things. It wouldn't make altcoins more bearish in the long term, but it would in the short term, right? Because that would mean that Bitcoin would suck up more liquidity. But again, we're looking for this to drop. Now, these Sol coins. So Solana is still looking completely fine, right? Price has been drifting lower in this bull flag formation, and while this has happened, a lot of these Solana coins have underperformed, and same kind of thing is happening on Base right now. Ethereum isn't going straight up, so a lot of Base coins are selling off. There's also a lot of rotation into the new hot thing, which is AI agents. I'm curious, where is this at today? So somebody asked me the other week, is FWAG at a generational entry right now? And understand, it's having a significant pullback because all Solana memes are. But again, as an example, So as an example, we're just going to look at these two side by side. All right, something like AI Tech, bullish AI coin that had an amazing performance from the end of last year to the start of this year. We can see from high to low, it put in a 55% gain in 91 days. Something like FWOG, from high to low, put in a 68x in 84 days. So very similar time frames, and this one did outperform as a meme on Sol. But I do recall after the parabolic move happened over here, I remember looking at this chart and being like, damn, right? This is a full kind of cycle. This is a full pump, right? Remember March. Do you guys recall what happened in March of this year when all the AI coins were up here? Notice how very, 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 very few people, I emphasized very a lot there because it's true, very few people were saying things were top there. Right now, a lot of people are posting all these things like, oh, like this is how you sell the top, right? When the top is in, it's very, very hard to get over the bullish euphoria. Understand, it's a huge manipulation game, right? It takes months of bearish price action where you basically lose conviction. You get conditioned to coins not pumping, to coins selling off for months. Every time you buy something, it just keeps on going down, right? Similar to what happened over the past 8 months from the spring until really September or November. So we get conditioned to basically not have much conviction and belief in the coins. And then they go in these multi-month explosive rallies. The entire market does. You can throw a dart blindfolded at a board and catch a 10x on some random altcoin. We then get conditioned to the risk-on appetite, which is the complete opposite of the emotions we feel down here. Complete opposite, night and day, right? So we go from not having any belief in anything to over-believing in everything, to believing that the vaporware garbage, the stupid meme coins will just keep on going up, and up. Where we go from risk off to risk on when the market is essentially too overheated, okay? We lose sense of reality. So it's very important to understand how these cycles play out and the psychology behind them. When things do get overheated again, history doesn't repeat, but it often does rhyme, and there's nothing new under the sun. I do expect most emotions to be in the same place they were, say, in March of this year, where very, very, very few people are calling for the top. Right? Prices have already gone parabolic, but that risk-on appetite is so greedy and the euphoria is so strong that it's very hard to determine in the moment, all right? So essentially, the reason I've been a pretty big critic of FWOG, just using it as an example, is because this is a full run, basically. Like, this is a full kind of mini cycle. To go 68x in less than 3 months, like, that is a boom and bust cycle. Okay, so again, I'm not surprised at all to see this thing correcting. As with most memes on Solana, the thing is, we're about to go into the crazy part. So if Solana decides to reverse and head towards 500, maybe this puts in a V. Okay, but I do think it's at least going to have to rebuild a strong base before going parabolic again. Look at how long it took to base before moving prior. It took months. Okay, so for these parabolic moves, you traditionally need to see months of buildup for them to play out. Otherwise, they are completely unsustainable. And with many of these coins, understand a lot of people were in significant profits up here, and they see all that get cut by 50%, and they're just or 60%. They're praying that it comes back so that they can get what they had before, and they'll be looking to exit. All right, so yeah, I mean, this thing does look like it's either cooked or it needs to consolidate for a while, as with the majority of memes on Solana at the moment. Let's see. Shout out to All Day Dre. Johnny G says, thanks for the Mingles analysis. Could you also check Mini? I don't like the meme, but it looks like a good level for an entry. So Mini is a Murad meme coin. And again, speaking of the Solana picks, Solana coins, they are all significantly sold off. They had a crazy run. They all did for 3 months. So understand that 3 to 4 to maybe 5 month time period of a coin going parabolic, that's usually how long they last before major corrections. All right, I've seen that many times now through back testing and analysis. Usually the crazy parabolic move lasts for 3 to 5 months. And then no matter what the coin is, it's due for a correction after that moment in time. So anyways, here's Mini. And this one put in a short run. In 10 days, it went up 6x, 6.5x basically. And I do agree with you, Johnny, that it does look like it's a pretty interesting level right now. Reason being, it's the origin of this parabolic move. Same thing here. Just using AI tech as an example again. Notice the origin of the move just here. That's always your highest probability demand zone. It's called an odds enhancer. It enhances the odds of that zone. It means it's stronger and more reliable, basically. All right, so the origin of major moves, you can call them inefficiencies as well. Those are always going to be your more higher probability odds enhanced demand zones. So anyways, for Mini, very similar. It's in the origin of the pump now, okay? And this is a drop of currently down 74.8% from the high. So it's in that 60 to 80% pullback level in demand. 100% I agree with you that it's a good level to DCA in if you want to add Mini. That's not a buy call from me, just answering Johnny's question, but for sure, it looks like a good level in here. And Ringo says Beppe is looking good. It is. We have not broken any trend yet, which is pretty important. So I would like to see this continue to build and hold this trend line. And it's coming pretty close to it now. And we're essentially looking for a breakaway move. A breakaway move past 20 million market cap into price discovery on something like Beppe. But I'd like to see it continue to hold this trend line and go to a breakout. That would be the most bullish scenario. And if we do get a crazy base season, which I think is going to happen, good chance we see many of these base meme coins put in crazy moves, similar to what we saw happen at the start of this year again, when many of the coins on base were brand new. Many of them did extremely well, and we were able to profit greatly off of that bullish time on base in March, April, May of this year. We had many amazing wins, and the plan is to continue that. Do I hold any runes? So I do have a bit of Dog Go to the Moon. Open up Magic Eden. And then Wizard. They are not significant positions, more so like asymmetrical bets. But this is going to be rebranded to Magic Internet Money. And this is much easier because you can just buy this on an exchange like BingX, which makes things significantly easier. But yeah, I mean, there's a good chance the Runes ecosystem does see a bit of its own echo bubble. I mean, it already has. Many of these have just continued to increase in value with BTC. I don't have Runes as a significant part of my portfolio whatsoever. I would say it's less than 1% in general. So it's very kind of small and more so as just to gain exposure. But I mean, my main thing is AI coins, really. I'm really expecting AI to be the leading narrative in 2025. So I'm very big on AI personally. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Brett's potential X's at this point, especially with the whole base narrative? I know it's a controversial coin. Very controversial indeed, Differiner. Very controversial. We have to give Crash some credit. Did he do a lot of crazy, absurd, shady things to get this to where it is? 100% he did. However, he willed this into existence. This was literally an idea in his head, and he made this happen. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Granted that some of the things he may have done to get it to where it is looked down upon. But regardless, that's where the controversy comes from. Very controversial, like you said. Now, Brett's potential exits from this point. So the fact that it's already hit 2 billion is an amazing feat. Very few meme coins make it to let alone 1 billion, but 2 billion. All right. Now, the market makers are 100% in Brett, in my opinion. All right. This is a coin that's grown so big and so large and has gotten so much mainstream attention that big players are 100% involved. And also, with that being said, you can go ahead and hire market makers to go ahead and trade your chart for you. It is a business that these exchanges run, and they also profit from it, along with the coin itself or the people behind the coin. But regardless, with that being said, being that I know market makers are involved, that it has a lot of big publicity, I do expect it to go up. All right, is it going to go to 40 billion or 69 billion or 100 billion, like Crash is saying? I strongly doubt that. Okay. I would be looking, realistically speaking, I would say a $6 to an $8 billion market cap before 10 billion. I think 10 billion is going to get front run significantly, personally. All right, I think there's going to be a significant sell-off before a $10 billion market cap. It's already at 1.5. It's hit 2.5, right? So I would say that leading into 10 billion, I would consider taking significant profits on something like it, because I can just see a major front run of that level. All the gullible bag holders following Crash think it will go to 40 billion. But this isn't where we go hold hands around a campfire and sing Kumbaya, right? Like, this is the financial market, and it is a zero-sum game, and it is very cutthroat at the highest level. It's extremely competitive. So with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised to see the sheep be led to slaughter and a major front run ahead of a $10 billion market cap. So I would say to hold a moon bag if you do believe in Crash's targets, but consider taking major profits leading into that level. Let's see, Resonate, thank you. Yes, a specific example of a later entry is NPC at 0.33 when it's already had 100x from earlier this year. So something like NPC. Now, I was pretty late to it. Getting in at 0.3 or 30 cents. Or sorry, 3 cents. Basically over here is when I went ahead and purchased it. But yeah, it's currently just slightly off of that level. Now something like this, in terms of profit targets, so let me just get an exact number here. Yeah, so around a 200 million market cap. So something like this, after a 5x from that entry, which would be a billion market cap, which is around a 3x or a 4x from current price, I would say to utilize the strategy outlined in the ebook and minimum take 10% out. However, in this case, probably be looking to take 25% out to cover initials and then leave a moon bag. Now, something like NPC, I rotated out of it from other coins such as Nakamoto Games and Change Finance. And that was the move, okay? That was a good move at that moment in time. It's preserved that capital and slightly increased it. Now, the meme coin market has gotten a lot more saturated since. But I really do still like this meme coin. I think it's a great meme, being it's very relatable to current kind of the world we live in. But just to answer the question, I would say a significant milestone would be a 1 billion market cap for this. I do think that is largely attainable. And at that point, I would say bare minimum, you should be covering your initials out of the coin, if not realizing chunks of profit at that point. But yeah, something like this, it is different in the sense that it's not like, say, Tau or Cubic, where the first entry was like, at the bottom floor. This was basically bought over here in the middle of the summer, suffered drawdown, and then we got the pump, pulled back, looking for this higher support, previous all-time high to hold. So, okay, I see what you mean now. And in this case, yeah, I would be not praying and holding or crossing my fingers, praying for like a 10x. To sell my first coin. Again, this is why I say it's very dynamic in this situation. Is it's a case-by-case basis. So yeah, I would be looking at a 1 billion market cap to begin to realize profits. Minimum initial plus a bit of actual profit that must be realized 100%. And you say setting realistic profit taking expectation for something that's already gone up a lot. Yeah. So that's how I would go about that. But anyways, guys, it's 110, and I do want to go live for FOMC. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. I appreciate you guys being here. Pretty low turnout, but I'm glad that we had a few people stick around and ask a lot of questions. Hope you guys got value out of this. Recording will be up for everyone that missed it. But yeah, FOMC now. FOMC in 50 minutes, so let's see what happens. I see a bear trap, and we're about to find out if I'm right or not. Huge day. Christmas is in a week, and the end of the year is right around the corner. If we're going to have a Santa rally, it's going to start from this FOMC meeting. So we'll see how we go. See you all very soon.